Hi, this is just a quick demo of the GitHub push tool as part of the custom build actions. So there are a couple of prerequisites that we need to set up. So the first is we need to create a new repository in our GitHub. So if we create a new repository, just give it a name, GitHub push demo, make it private so that other people can't see it, and press create repository. Okay, so we now have our empty repository. The next thing we need to do is create an API token or access token. You only need to do this once, but if you go to your profile picture on the right, go to settings and then scroll down to developer settings at the bottom, and then click on personal access tokens and classic tokens. So we need to generate a new token, so we'll say generate new classic token. Just give it a name, GitHub push demo. You can set the expiry date, so we'll just set this to 7 days, and the scope is repo, which will give us access to the repositories. So generate the token. So here's the token, so we want to copy that to the clipboard because you won't see that again. So we'll just add it to our notepad over here. Now the next thing we need to do is go to our B4X project. So this is just a B4J console application. So there's a couple of things we need to do here. We need to copy our config section for GitHub. So if we paste that in, we need to set our repository owner, which is your GitHub username, and then the repository as well, and then also the branch. So once we've done that, that's the configuration. Now to activate the tool to do the push, there's two ways we can do that. One is that we can use an IDE link. So the IDE link is just going to call B4X custom build actions.exe with the action of GitHub push. So those are the only parameters you need there. Alternatively, if you want to push it every time you make a release build, you can do that as well. So again, we just call B4X custom build action, and the action is GitHub push. So just save that. If we go back to our repository, you'll see there's no files at the moment. Now if we go back to our B4X project, we've configured owner, name, and branch. We can then run this. So if we click on the IDE link, because this is the first time I'm running this, it will prompt for our API key. So if we just grab our API key and come back here, paste this in and press OK, that will do the rest of the push. So if we go back to our repository now and hit refresh, you'll see it's uploaded the project file, and it's also uploaded our git attribute and git ignore files. So if we look at the git attribute file, this just tells GitHub what language the project is in. And if we look at our git ignore, these are basically just the files and folders that the upload is going to ignore, or the push is going to ignore. So we ignore startup meta, we ignore startup zip, and auto backups and objects. So these are the defaults that Eric came up with. You can adjust this list with your project if you want. So if we go back to our project and we just go to the project folder, you'll see the git attribute and git ignore files are in the project folder, and these are the ones that will be pushed up to the to GitHub. So if we wanted to push the .meta file, then we can come in here and delete that that ignore parameter there. So once we've done that, we can make other changes if we want. So we can put it in another log. We can create a new code module. Just call it test. So now we have another code module, and every time we run this, it will push those changes up to GitHub. So you can see if there are no changes. So for example, if we run this again, it will just say no changes, no changes, no changes, and it will just carry on like that. If we go back to our GitHub and refresh, you'll see our test.bas is there now. And although it takes a couple of minutes, you can see that GitHub has recognized this project is 100% B4X. So the other way to do this is obviously with a custom build action instead of an IDE link. So if we switch to our release build and we do a release build, that will push the code up as well. So when you do a custom build action, you don't actually get the output in the log window, but it will actually send through the updated code. So if we add another line here and press save and then do a build, we should now see that updated code in GitHub. So if we go to the project file, you can see there's the third log line there. So yeah, that's basically how that works.